welcome. You're watching NewsX and I'm Shivani Singh, and we are in fact now looking at Tamil Nadu. Tomorrow is the polls, assembly elections where people go out to vote, and with less than 24 hours to go before voting in Tamil Nadu, the stage is set for a high-stakes political showdown. The 234-seat assembly goes to polls tomorrow, with the ruling DMK led by Chief Minister M.K. Stalin seeking a second straight term, while the AIADMK-BJP alliance is mounting a strong challenge, and actor-turned-politician Vijay's TVK is stepping into the fray. Campaigning wrapped up amid intense rhetoric, with key issues dominating the narrative. Alliances and messaging have also sharpened, with regional players backing the Dravidian model, while the BJP and its allies targeted issues like women's reservation and governance. As Tamil Nadu votes tomorrow, the contest is widely seen as close and potentially decisive for the state's political direction in the years ahead. So, with that, let's in fact take you through some of the key statistics ahead of the polls tomorrow, because this will help us understand what the key players are, who they are, how many seats are going to polls, and where all have the parties fared over the past few years. So, let's look at the total number of seats in Tamil Nadu, 234 assembly seats that we are looking at. Let's also look at the voter breakdown. In 2026, so this year, there are around 5,67,07,380 voters. Let's look at them as men, 2,77,38,925. There are around 2,89,60,838 women voters, and of the third gender, we have 107,617 individuals. Now, let's compare it to some of the numbers that we have from voters in 2021. There were 6,29,43,512 voters in 2021 in the assembly polls, and men were around 30 lakhs, 3,99,540, and we have women at around 3,19,40,880, and the third gender at around 7,192. So you can clearly see the difference that in 2026 there has been a decrease in the voters, a decrease by 62 lakh 36,132, a significant number. 62 lakh voters have decreased. Men see a decrease by decline of around 32 lakhs 56,515. Women around 29 lakhs 80,042. And the third gender, they have increased, however. We have 425 more individuals in that category as voters. So, let's look at the SIR process, because the SIR process was in fact conducted across Tamil Nadu just before these polls are in fact coming on, and there were around 74 lakh deletions, 74 lakh 7,207 deletions. Now, let's look at the category as to how these deletions happen. Deletions due to death. So 20 lakh 52,058 people actually died, so their names were deleted. There were around 50 lakh 58,141 people who migrated, so their names were in fact removed, and there were similar entries of around 2,97,008 voters, and hence their names were deleted in the SIR, or the Special Intensive Revision process. So there you have it, the breakdown of why we were seeing a decrease in the number of voters in 2026. Now let's look at the Tamil Nadu Assembly 2021 vote share. So, which party has how much vote share? And you can look at the pie chart over here, and through here you can clearly see that the DMK has the largest share, then close comes AIADMK, others, and BJP, Congress, the Indian National Congress, and the CPI hold a smaller part of the pie. So, let's look at the percentage over here. DMK around 37.70%, CPI 1.09%, the Indian National Congress has 4.27%, the BJP at 2.62%, AIADMK at 33.29%, and others at 21.03%. So you can clearly see how that pie share is. Let's look at the seat share. The total number of seats, like we mentioned, is 234, and when we look at 2021, the Tamil Nadu Assembly, the DMK had around 133 seats, the CPI had 2, the Indian National Congress had 18, the BJP had only 4, the AIADMK had 66, and others had around 11. So you can look at the seat share over there. Now let's look at the Assembly elections 2026, where we look at the voter turnout comparison, which has unfortunately seen a decline over the years. Overall voter turnout in 2011 was 77.8%, in 2006 was 74.81%, and in 2021 it was only 73.83%. Hopefully in 2026, tomorrow, we see a massive voter turnout, and this number goes back to being stable at around 77%. Now let's look at the Lok Sabha elections as well in Tamil Nadu. So 2024 Tamil Nadu Lok Sabha vote share, and let's look at the pie first, where we have a very close contest between the DMK, the AIADMK. But remember, viewers, here's what's increasing the BJP's vote share in the Lok Sabha. The Indian National Congress also has a fair share, the CPI is limited, and others as well, they have a good share in that pie chart. Let's look at the percentages now, where the DMK stands at 26.93%, the AIADMK at 20.46%. The CPI at 2.15%, the BJP at around 11.24%, the Indian National Congress at 10.67%, and others at 28.55% of the vote share. This we are, remember, talking about the Lok Sabha to just give you a picture of how there are different parties and alliances that are coming into the picture and how they have fared in the Lok Sabha. Let's look at the seat share. The total number of seats in the Lok Sabha that Tamil Nadu has around 39. 22 went to the DMK, around 9 went to the Indian National Congress. The CPIM had 2 seats and the CPI had 2 as well. So you saw those Lok Sabha results. Let's look at 2016. Let's look at the heat map that we have, the Tamil Nadu Assembly election results and party-wise. So we have given you DMK, which is in red, the INC in blue on your screens right now, and the AIADMK in green. So you can see that the reds and the greens dominate. They had around 136 and 136 seats. The Indian National Congress in certain pockets, they had around 8. So this is party-wise distribution of the 2016 Assembly election. These are the results that were in fact put in front of you. Let's look at another let's look at the constituencies where we have VIP candidates. Edapadi, where we have the Edapadi Palaniswamy coming in opposite K. Kasi, who's of the DMK, of AIADMK and the DMK. Then we have the winning, where Palaniswamy won by a margin of 93,802 votes, and we saw a 66.27% win margin and over 1,63,154 votes, while the loss was around 28.1%, and he got around 69,352 votes. Now, let's look at the past elections of Edapadi, where in 2021 AIADMK won, in 2016 as well, in 2011 as well. However, in 2006 PMK had won, and in 2001 as well we saw PMK taking the lead over here. The religious breakup, let's look at the voter religious breakup, where the Hindu is around 90%, Muslim Sikh and Christian around 3. The caste is around SC is 17.5% and ST at 1%. So an overview of this entire. Let's look at the another VIP constituency, which is Kolasur, where we have MK Stalin, we have Santana Krishnan, and we have VS Babu. These are the main candidates. Last time we saw MK Stalin win, voting margin of 60.86% of vote share, around 1,05,522 votes, and the other person who was defeated only had 20.27% of the vote share. Let's look at the previous wins, where DMK won in 2021, in 2026, in 2011. However, in 2006 and 2001, we saw AIADMK actually take the lead. Let's look at the religious breakup. Again, we have the Hindus dominating with 96, Muslims at 2, and Christians at 1. We have the caste breakup, where SC is around 22.74%. Let's look at Coimbatore North, where we have Vanathi Srinivasan, we have Durai Sant Tamil and Selvam, and we have Sampath Kumar, who are contesting from Coimbatore North. The 2021 results, we saw Aman K. Arjunan actually win with a vote percentage of 40.15%, and he had around 81,454 votes. Let's look at the last elections as well, where we are seeing a sweep of AIADMK over the years, whether it is 2021 or 2001. In the religious breakdown as well, we are seeing Hindus dominating. Let's look at Coimbatore South. We have Senthil Balaji, we have Aman K. Arjunan, we have Senthil Kumar. These are the main candidates who are in fact contesting from Coimbatore South. Let's in fact look at the previous elections 2021, where Vanathi Srinivasan won with a vote of 53,209 and a vote percentage of 34.38%. So over here again we are seeing a winning margin of around 1,728 votes, and this is a big mix, where in the last elections in 2021 BJP won. In 2026 to 2001 it was AIADMK who had secured the win. Let's look at the next constituency, which is Tiruchirappalli East, where we have S. Irudhya Raj versus C. Joseph Vijay and Raja Shekharan. So the entry of TVK is also a big battle over here in Tamil Nadu. We saw in 2021 where Irudhya Raj won by 94,302 votes. The winning margin was around 53,797 votes. Over the previous years, if we look at this seat, the DMK won in 2021, in 2016 AIADMK, and 2011 and 2006 we saw AIADMK and DMK. All right, so those were some of the key seats that we saw in Tamil Nadu, and we also saw who the key candidates were in fact in this entire election. Let's in fact take this across to some of the guests who are joining us on this broadcast. Mr. Venkat Narayan, who's a senior journalist, K.V. Lakshman, political analyst, Ramaswamy Mayappan, who's a political analyst as well. I welcome you all to this broadcast, and I thank you for giving out your time to NewsX. Let's start off this discussion with Mr. Venkat Narayan. Sir, obviously we are going to see the Vijay factor. Do you believe that this is going to play a major role in the assembly elections tomorrow?
Thank you. Vijay is going to poll at least 15 to 17% of the popular vote, but is not going to get more than 3 to 5 seats. So it is going to be the Tamil Nadu will be primarily bipolar Dravidian contest between alliances led by the DMK and the AIADMK. The DMK alliance has Congress as a major partner, rather minority partner, and the BJP is teaming up with the AIADMK. Alliance arithmetic decides outcomes in Tamil Nadu and not just party vote. Women voters plus welfare politics are decisive in Tamil Nadu. Urban and delta swing zones determine the government. In 2024, the Lok Sabha elections show that DMK dominated and swept most of the Lok Sabha seats and all that. But in this election, there is an X factor, that is TVK's film star turned politician Vijay, and he's attracting a lot of young voters, the first time voters, and a lot of women who are his fans, or fans of the films he has acted in, and so on. So it seems to me that most of the votes he will get will be from the youth as well as women. And according to an estimate made by Reach Out Analytics, I was just talking to Venkat Rao, who heads the Reach Out Analytics, that TVK and Vijay is likely to poll about 70 lakh votes, but that will convert into barely 3 to 5 seats. In Tamil Nadu, we must remember a 3 to 5% swing will lead to a gain or loss of 50 assembly seats. These are the general observations I would like to make at this point of time. The rest tomorrow morning.
Right,
Thank you.
right. In fact, let me also rope in Mr. K.V. Lakshman. Sir, I also want to understand the part that new voters will play, or those young voters, the first time voters. There is this statistic going around that there are around 14%, around 87 lakh, first time voters. Do you believe that, these are people who have not witnessed the era of, say, for example, the Karunanidhi or the Jayalalitha era? Do you believe that now the whole political dimension, because of the entry of 14% of these voters, the whole dimension of the political playing field over there in Tamil Nadu actually changes?
No, with the kind of commentary that Sir Narayanan has already mentioned, Vijay's presence is not going to make much of a difference to the his own electoral fortunes. He's just trying out, and a film star trying out in politics may not be able to make it the first time. It is his trial run, and maybe the next time around he's not fighting for this elections anyway. At best, he can be a spoiler. The main question is whose votes he will damage more. So that is the question that is introduced an element of suspense in the entire film of Tamil Nadu politics. So, but given the fact that DMK was way ahead in Lok Sabha elections as also previous elections, and the weakened AIADMK may not be able to, and also DMK has managed to stitch together an alliance and also roped in a few elements that will strengthen its position in one or two places. VCK comes in, and so as Palani Swami's entry, it may be, although not a very big leader in strictly what we know, but the optics, it makes a difference. So overall, I think that at the moment, unless something very drastic happens, DMK seems to be slightly ahead of in the alliance politics. So I would like to say that the young voters also drawn in by the enthusiasm of presence of, they will definitely come out. I mean, the overall voting percentage might improve, but may not be able to directly help Vijay win seats. That's how I see it, ma'am.
Right, right. In fact, let me also rope in Mr. Ramaswamy, my opinion, to this discussion. So, I want to understand from your observation the role that women voters will in fact play. There are around 3 crore women voters who will cast their vote, and traditionally, if we see the statistics, they seem to be favoring AIADMK. However, with new schemes now being launched by the DMK as well, and nationally as well, when we are talking about women's welfare, how do you see the women voters actually behaving?
तो भारत माता को और भारतवासियों को मेरा प्रणाम. It's happy to have the elections coming up. It's like a festival, time to celebrate democracy and the people's rights. So happy, and I just invite all electors to go out and vote in big numbers. The election commission has set a small target of 75%, but the Union Territory of Puducherry is picked up and then gone over 93%. I'm hoping Tamil Nadu goes up and puts up a much better show and gets close to that 90-odd%, and so does West Bengal. And now coming back to Tamil Nadu, with regards to the women voter strength, historically the women voters, at least from the time of MGR, have been closer to the AIADMK. MGR was a strong proponent who had a lot of support of the women, and so did Jayalalitha also. I'm not sure if it's an AIADMK phenomenon, because the 2019 Lok Sabha polls and the 2024 Lok Sabha polls would show that women did not vote in that same strength with the NDA or with Edappadi Palaniswamy and the AIADMK. So that has weakened for the AIADMK a little bit. And that's something that Vijay is catching on this time. I'm not even looking at women of age below 25. If you look at women above 25 to 35 and women 35 and above, there is an overwhelming support for Vijay, which is something that you see on the ground. In fact, I think last night there were a few news agencies, including yourself, that got a few transit passengers going away from Chennai back to their hometowns for the purpose of elections. And there were a lot of young voters and middle-aged women voters who said they're going to vote for Vijay. So this is a phenomenon that a lot of people have not been seeing. So there are a lot of urban-centric women voters that are going to their rural towns to vote for Vijay. So I think Vijay's vote has been underestimated a little bit. I'm not going to say that that's going to turn into the winning margin, but that's going to change the dynamics of who is winning in those respective constituencies. Because traditionally, Tamil Nadu is polled very close. In fact, a constituency like T Nagar had seen someone win with 137 vote margin, someone in Modakurchi won with only about 3,000 votes. So these are constituencies where the women votes can make a huge difference. And that's something that if Vijay is able to pull off even a few thousand, that would change the potential candidate that could potentially be winning. So the arithmetics that we've been putting out right now, in terms of opinion polls or in terms of even analysis, may not work to the same magic if Vijay is able to pull off these numbers. And Vijay, I think, is still an alternative. Women are tied down based on what their kids are asking, sometimes even underage kids who don't have the right of franchise are asking their parents to go out and vote in a certain manner. And I think mothers are generally loyal. When they make a promise to their kids, they may actually vote in fairness to Vijay rather than vote elsewhere. So that may actually end up happening. And I think that in that place, Vijay is becoming a factor. And it is going to cause dent to some people that are going to be surprised. Let me put it that way.
Right. That's a very interesting observation, sir. In fact, let me go across to Mr. Narayan. Sir, I also want to understand your observations regarding the voter turnout, because over the years we've seen it dipping from 77% to now 73%. And given that it's a summer season right now, there's a lot of heat outside as well, a lot of first-time voters as well. What's your prediction for the voter turnout? And also, I want to understand from your perspective if the Lok Sabha results will come into the picture. Do you think that DMK-led alliance momentum will keep going over here right now as well?
A certain anti-incumbency factor has crept in at this point of time, and the fact that TVK and a popular film star like Vijay has got into the act, but we must remember Vijay does not have the stature of an MGR or Jayalalitha or even N.T. Rama Rao in Andhra Pradesh. If he had teamed up or joined hands with either of the alliances, that particular alliance would have certainly got a very impressive number of seats and one, be able to form the government. But he's fighting elections on his own, and he has made critical remarks about DMK as well as AIADMK as well as the BJP and so on. And he wants to win the elections on his own and become the chief minister. I think he is aiming rather too high. And the latest data I have as of 17th of April, conducted by the reach out analytics of Mr. K. Venkata Rao, suggests that TVK might be able to poll about 17%, comprising young women as well as first-time voters. But on their own, they will not be able to help Vijay win any elections, any seats. Vijay is going to cut into the DMK vote, the so-called anti-incumbency vote. So as I said, 3 to 5% swing away from the DMK will put the AIADMK alliance, of which the BJP is a partner, into power. My data, the data provided to me by the reach out analytics, suggests that the AIADMK alliance is likely to get at least 150 seats, and the DMK alliance number of seats might be less than 100, and this 3 to 5% swing away from the DMK would put the AIADMK led alliance in a majority situation, and they might form the government. That is the impression as per the latest monitoring of the mood of the people in Tamil Nadu, being monitored for the last 3 months, is suggesting at this point of time.
All right. Unfortunately, we've run out of time, but I thank you, Mr. Venkat Narayan, KV Lakshman and Ramaswamy Mayappan, for your perspective on this issue. With that, we are wrapping up this bulletin and slipping into a short commercial.